The Edmonton Oilers have a Pacific Division heavy schedule for the latter half of November. Actually, for most of November, they played the Anaheim, I was going to call them the Mighty Ducks, but they were not very mighty as they lost to the Oilers on home ice. But then the Oilers go to San Jose and cook up a turkey in a loss to the Sharks. Mind you, they rarely beat the Sharks these days. However, I don't know what to expect from an Oilers team night after nights. They have a great performance one night, a bad performance the next.
Well, every team is allowed, when you play 82 games, I think you're allowed half a dozen games where you just want to burn the tape and say, don't even watch this, because that was the game against San Jose. They were awful. But they rarely beat San Jose now. Last year they went in there and lost 7-2. This time they lost 6-3. I can remember Erik Karlsson getting 5 points against the Oilers, I believe, in a game in Edmonton. So over the last 2 years and a bit, I think they're 0-8-1 against San Jose. So they don't play well against San Jose at all. That's the one team that seems to have their number, and it happens to be in the Pacific Division. And San Jose's won 4 games in a row now, so they're up to 8 wins. 10 days ago it looked like they might be a lottery team, but now they're up to 8 wins. So they're playing better, and the Pacific Division is, as you pointed out, is very tight. Just when it looks like Arizona might be the most boring team in the league, according to some people, they go into Washington and win a game, and then win another game against an Eastern Division opponent. Or I think it was actually St. Louis they beat. So they're hanging in. Vancouver knocked off Nashville. It's a very tight race, and I don't think the Oilers can take their foot off the gas at all and get into a situation where they lose 3 or 4 in a row, because they'll suddenly drop back into the pack. Right now they're still doing just fine, but they can't afford a 3 or 4 game losing streak.
It's not to say the Oilers haven't been able to beat any Pacific Division teams, because they have. I mean, they are at the top of the division, and they've beaten teams like Vancouver and LA. Although, those are LA is certainly not a heavyweight this year.
They also beat them the first 2 games of the season. That
True
was
enough.
A long time ago.
That was a very long time ago.
Especially Vancouver, who have played very well.
Yeah.
For the most part this year.
Yeah, but considering they're, like I said off the top, this is a busy Western Conference month. In fact, all the games they play from here on out are against Western Conference teams. They have a couple of Central Division teams at home here before they head out on the road to play more Pacific Division, including a game against San Jose. I just, when it comes to getting over is it a mental hump for the Oilers with the Sharks?
I think so. Some teams just don't match up well. And, even though San Jose doesn't have the team that they did last year, certainly in the early going, they just match up well against the Oilers. And as Drew Remenda pointed out on the broadcast, he says, watch San Jose. They'll go to the net, they'll get the puck back to the point, they'll get the shot through the net, and there'll be a lot of traffic. And, every time I turned around, they were getting a shot through to the net, and there was a tip or a rebound. And the Oilers did a very poor job of handling the point shots, and then a poor job of handling people in front of the net too, because you can hang that one on Mike Smith giving up 6 goals, but even if Mikko Koskinen had played, the Oilers would have lost that hockey game. So they just did not have a very good game. If you're Dave Tippett, you just say, okay, the Mum Sauce play a 6-2 game, and then the Mum Sauce lose a 6-3 game. So that's life, and mums go through that every day.
Now, thinking immediately ahead, they have Colorado, which has its own challenges with 2 of their top players out of the lineup. But we do have Nathan MacKinnon in the lineup for the Colorado Avalanche, and he's one of the best players in the league. And, of course, Dallas is another team that the Oilers traditionally, at least lately, have been having issues with when it comes to trying to beat them.
Well, Colorado has no players, and it's just not Rantanen out and Landeskog out. It's also Zadorov on defense. Colin Wilson is out. They're down their starting goaltender, Philip Grubauer. Their backup goalie, Frank Hus, got hurt in Winnipeg. They went to their 3rd stringer, and he shut out the Jets, a Swedish goalie named Adam Werner. So they're down to their 3rd goalie, and Kadri also got hurt in Winnipeg. So I don't know what his situation is. So they're gutting it out, in large part because Nathan MacKinnon is so good, certainly an MVP candidate. he's soldiering on without his two wingers, Landeskog and Rantanen, and Cale Makar in defense, the former Brooks Bandit in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. I remember back to the 2017 draft, Colorado had 48 points, lost the lottery, and went from first to fourth, and they still got Cale Makar at 4, and Nico Hischier went 1, and Nolan Patrick went 2. So I'm sure that the Colorado Avalanche are looking at that and saying our guy is better than those two guys, and they went 1-2.
You know, in nets, does Dave Tippett continue to do his platooning, or should he lean more on whoever has the hot hand?
Well, they're a quarter of the way through the season now, and the platoon has worked just fine. Koskinen has somewhat better stats, not hugely better than Mike Smith. He's got a 7-1-1 record, and Mike Smith is 5-5-0-1. And Koskinen's goal average and save percentage are better than Mike Smith's, but I don't think there's much to choose. When you've played a quarter of the games, I guess you could say, okay, we're going to lean on this guy 2 out of every 3 now until he proves that he can't do it. And right now, Koskinen is playing a little bit better than Mike Smith. So he'll play against Colorado, I'm sure. And then, if he plays well, I think he'll play against Dallas too, because then the Oilers don't play again until Tuesday in San Jose. So I would bet lots of money that Mike Smith would not play again against the San Jose Sharks in San Jose after these, they've just beat him 6-3. That would be Koskinen's game. So Koskinen is defying the people who said A, he has a bad glove hand, and B, he makes too much money. So far, I haven't seen too many goals beating him on the glove hand, and his $4.5 million contract, while he's only played 10 games, looks just fine because he's got a 9.28 save percentage, which is third best in the NHL of goalies who played at least 10 games.
It was this time a year ago when the Oilers started a slide that ended up having Todd McClellan fired as head coach. There are still some people out there who don't think the Oilers are their record in their first place in the Pacific, 12-6-3. I don't know. I mean,
they still need better all-around scoring from their forwards.
Mm-hmm.
The second line of Nugent Hopkins and Neal and Chason did not play very well in San Jose, and the checking line with Sheahan, Archibald, and Kara, while they keep the puck in the other team's end and are terrific penalty killers. No goals from Sheahan so far, no goals from Archibald so far, who's coming off a broken foot, and 1 goal from Kara. So that line, if you play them all together, that's a quarter of the season, 1 goal from that line. So they need more from some of their players to help out when they're going to have a few nights when Draisaitl and McDavid get nothing, no points at all, and they need some help from other people. But so far, Draisaitl has a point in every game this year, but the 2 times they were shut out, so 18 out of the 20 games. So I think he's the best player in the league right now.